Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Bill Cope. I work at the University of Illinois. I've been involved in this conference for since it began. Well, nearly 20 years ago now, I can see. And in fact, what we have here is a pair of conferences, one of which is interdisciplinary social sciences, and the second one that we have is a global studies conference. But these issues we've discovered kind of overlap quite significantly, and we've kind of in the last couple of years we've put the two conferences together and we've shared main themes. Of course, what people are looking at the conference is much, much broader than these themes. These are just the special themes for this conference. A little bit of a background about Common Ground. I work at the University of Illinois, but Common Ground is a not-for-profit, which is located in the research park at the university. We've been doing this for a couple of decades now, and we've got quite a body of research knowledge that we've built through the conferences and the journals and the book series over the years. Just to give you a sense of the number of people who are here and who your colleagues are at these two conferences, across the two conferences, we have about 200 people attending, just under 200 people. 154 of those are online only. So we have about, I'm just looking at the numbers here, about 120 who are in person and about 60 or 70. No, that doesn't add up. But anyhow, we've got about 200 people in all. But one of the important things is there's a kind of an overlap between the in-person people and the online people, in the sense that we ask all the online people to please all the in-person people to contribute digital media for the online people, and we record all the plenary sessions as well. However, the conference is mostly asynchronous. This is one of the few synchronous sessions in the conference. We found that people kind of it's convenient to move in and out. And one of the things I'd like to alert you to, and I'm going back to the screen now, is down here. This is the conference website, but to get into the actual conference itself, you go to the Scholar Event microsite, which is here, and this is where you will find the conference program. So here you can click to download a user guide. So if you're having a bit of trouble using the environment, it will help you with that. But also the schedule for both conferences is here on this link. And if you go into the schedule, here you'll see what's on every day. And I'll just go arbitrarily into a day just to show you how to navigate your way through. These are all the sessions here. And if you take these links, it will take you into a particular session. And there you will find digital media. If the people have uploaded digital media, there'll be digital media there. Information about the program. And this person, you have to request it. They haven't put anything in yet. But these are the sessions which are online only. So again, that's a very, very quick intro to how you navigate the environment here. So as I say, there are two conferences. The one conference is the Interdisciplinary Social Sciences one. The other conference is Global Studies. And these both lead into is a publication program of books and journals. So in the case of Interdisciplinary Social Sciences, over the years, we've published over 2,000 pieces. So that can be a bit overwhelming, but you can see over here there's an advanced search. And your conference registration gives you complete access to this backlog of material, and there's a really rich resource there. Similarly, with Global Studies, we've had about 700 pieces of work, books, and journal articles published. So one thing we always ask people to do is please use this resource. One of the ways in which we honor each other as scholars is by citing each other's work. So that's a very quick introduction to this pair of conferences. And what I'd like to do now is turn over to you folks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you folks to share put a link in the chat, which I'm trying to get to now. Is my chat open? There we go. If you could put a link in the chat to your presentation, I'll get you all to speak. but it's a matter of just going to your page in the program, if you can do that, navigating to the page and putting in a comment in the chat. So it's great to see everybody here. I put a link, I'm sorry, and I'll bring it up.
I have a video conference and I don't want to log in.
Stephanie, great. You've set the ball rolling, which is wonderful. So Stephanie, would you like to introduce yourself just while that screen's coming up? And other folks, find your links and put them in like Stephanie has. So welcome, Stephanie. Great to have you at the conference. Can you talk a little bit about what brings you here and the work that you do?
Absolutely. Hello, it's nice to see everyone. My name is Stephanie Cathan, and I'm a doctoral candidate here at UCLA, University of California in Los Angeles. My presentation is on child emotional development and early Head Start. So I used a very large national database to complete a regression analysis to examine what's associated with child social and emotional development within this nationally funded, excuse me, it's early here, nationally funded program for children between the ages of 0 to 3. Overall, my research is pretty interdisciplinary, though, as a social welfare scholar. So, for example, I also research sexual violence within university campuses and how that relates to, here in the United States, Title IX policy.
Okay, all right, that's great. Great to have you. And this is a classic example of really engaged and socially useful social science work. So wonderful to have you here and doing that. And in the nature of things, necessarily interdisciplinary as well. So welcome, Stephanie. I can see you've had 83 people come to your page already. One plea I'd like to make to everybody is that there's the digital media, is please join this discussion link. Whether people are online or in person at the conference, we really encourage them to take this link. And what it does is, although the conversation is asynchronous, it does trigger an email to all the participants to encourage them to come back and to continue the conversation. So thank you very much for kicking off with that, Stephanie. The next person I can see is Wansa Gasavi. Gasaviana. Sorry, I know I've just mangled the pronunciation of your name.
It's okay. Hi, Professor Cope. My name is Gwanza Gaswiani. I'm originally from Georgia. I'm a doctoral candidate here at UCI, so I can relate to Stephanie. It's 8 a.m. here in Los Angeles. I'm at the University of California, Irvine, and my work is about how Russian exiles fleeing the Russian-Ukrainian war to the country of Georgia negotiate and construct gender identities, and how those changes impact heteropatriarchal state structures. So basically, I have done my fieldwork in the country of Georgia, interviewing the recent migrants whose voices are typically marginalized because of the interest in Russian political figures who reside in the Western countries or in more developed countries. So I bring to the conversation voices of the anti-war Russians who go to countries like Georgia, how they imagine their lives, what happens in their lives after migration. And in the particular case of Georgia, it's interesting because in my next paper, I'm arguing how empire follows them, because after their migration to Georgia, Georgian government started accepting similar laws to Russia, like foreign agent laws, anti-LGBTQ propaganda law. So now their lives are sort of in a similar dangers that they were in when they reside in Russian state. Thank you. Excited to be here and participate asynchronously, so I would really appreciate any feedback on my work. It's a PowerPoint presentation, but it has a voice narration, so you can hear all the details. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And obviously, we're at this crisis point in the world at the moment where there are all these, wars and refugee movements and people fleeing, all sorts of points of crisis. So this is a touchstone issue. And I can see there you're using a whole pile of, complex and important social science concepts. One of the things I'd like to say to everybody as well is go to sessions about topics you don't know a lot about. I mean, go to head off on tangents, because even if this seems very specific, which of course it is, there are general issues which affect the whole of the domain of social sciences, which come out of all of these sessions. So anyhow, welcome, great to have you here. And I can see we've had a 116 people on that page already, which is wonderful. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Our next person we have is Natalie. How are you, Natalie? I can see Natalie had a link there a little while ago. Oh, yeah, there, Natalie, you're on an iPhone. Would you like to introduce yourself briefly and talk about your work?
Yeah, I'm a PhD candidate Quebec in my thesis topic is second generation migrants and bicultural competence validation. Originally and ecology, so my work is disciplinary by nature factor to the conference. And I did one of my thesis, which is on scale translation, and this is on qualitative methodology to translate, validate scale linguistically, culturally, and kind of talk about what happens if a scale doesn't work, in the sense that the quantitative analysis doesn't come out as we would have hoped, for example, with the exploratory factor analysis or the comparative factor analysis, and looking at how we can tackle that from an interdisciplinary approach. Psychology is very quantitatively focused, and there's a certain shift going on that we're also looking at qualitative methodologies. And I'm kind of making a case for that with the psychological humanities, which looks at psychological issues from different perspectives. So they'll take theories from history, from cultural studies, from philosophy, and use the methods from those disciplines to explore psychological phenomena.
Yes, and look, you've raised a couple of really critical questions there. What's the role of mixed methodologies? How to do mixed methodologies end up being separate methodologies that are tacked together? What kinds of challenges do these kind of interdisciplinary issues like migrant mental health research, psychological humanities? I like that concept. So in other words, what you're doing is not just interdisciplinary social sciences, but the way in which historical areas like the humanities also connect as well in these dealing with real social problems, which really does throw up these questions of interdisciplinarity. So great to have you there. And I can see we've had 111 people on your page already. Okay, so that's Natalie. And the next one I have here is Casey on the Zoom, but I can see there it's Clement Camage. I think, if I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes, that is correct. Thank you, William. Hello, everybody. First, I apologize for not having the camera on. I'm actually traveling at the moment, and I kind of assumed that this will be held tomorrow, not today. So that is my fault. But anyhow, I'm very happy to be here. My name is Dr. Clement Camage. I am a lecturer at the University of Western Scotland, member of the Centre for Migration and Diaspora in Scotland as well. My work lies within migration studies in the context and then contrast with the transnationalism, cultural identity, and diaspora matters. Currently, I'm actually working on a project on non-migrants, on the decision to stay put and to remain, more specifically, the cultural aspect and the cultural reasonings behind such decisions. I mean, I can talk quite a bit about this, but I'm going to leave room for others, and hopefully we'll have the chance to discuss this further. And please, if you're interested in anything that I do, please reach out, and I would love to hear your feedback and exchange ideas.
Okay, yes, and look, for all those people who are working specifically in this migration issue, yes, do go to this page, and it's the other side of the migration story. Interesting kind of reversal of what the main focus is. So yeah, that's a great piece of work. Thank you for that. And the next person we have here in the links, I hope I haven't missed anybody, is Hirosha Kalupe. If you're not able to speak, just put something in the chat.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. Hello, I think you
Yes.
can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will.
I'm Hirosha Lakmali. I'm originally from Sri Lanka. I'm living in Norway now. I'm a master's student at University of Stavanger, Norway. I'm studying about, my research is about how young Ukrainian refugees integrate into Norwegian job market and what kind of challenges and opportunities they have. I use the semi-ethnography research methodology to collect my data. I am also a migrant myself, and I learned Norwegian language at Norwegian language school, and those asylum seekers. Ukrainian asylum seekers are also in my class. So it was very easy for me to access for real data. And I use semi-ethnography because I'm also in their group, and I studied like 5 months with them. And they also wanted to integrate into Norwegian job market, but we were discussing what kind of challenges they have. And this is my research is about, I collected data and I wrote those information, and I analyzed those data using thematic analysis. And this is my research output here. And I would like to discuss about my research more. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, and another person working on this all-important migration issue. This is a period of such extraordinary movement of people, and with that, all those issues that come up as well that you folks are researching, really important issues about social dislocation and integration as well. So, yep, thank you very much for being here, and we look forward to looking closely into your presentation. The next one that I have in the list here is Ian Tay. Hi, Ian. How are you?
Hi. I'm Ian. I'm a doctoral education doctorate student in the University of Bath, and I'll be presenting this on Thursday, I believe. This presentation is based on what I'm writing for. It's a combination of two papers that I'm writing about. One is an analysis of the international education curriculum, looking at the A-levels and the IB. And another one is looking at a national government policy document to see how intertwined between international education and national education policies. So I'm looking at the neoliberal tendencies of international education and education in general today, and how this can be implemented in national education policies for economic growth and development for middle income to upper income countries. So yeah, I'll be speaking more about this on Thursday. I'm actually an education doctorate student, so I'm actually a teacher as well. So I'm in the international education industry myself, and therefore I have first-hand experience with this and looking at international assessments as well. So yeah, looking forward to talking to everyone.
Great, and thank you very much for being here in this online opening session, and thank you very much for sharing the media that you have with the other people who are online presenters. So, and of course, this is trying to build a new kind of person, if you like, who's able to deal with all the social conditions we've been talking about in all the previous sessions. So that's tremendously important. Thank you, Ian. The next person we have who's given us a link is Kate. Kate, hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having us here. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about my presentation for a few minutes. My presentation actually will be on Thursday at 3:20 in person, and I'm here in Krakow. I just arrived a couple of hours ago, and we just went through a huge storm, so I hope this is the last one. I've heard they had a lot of storms this past week, so hopefully for the presentation, for the conference, it will be nice and sunny starting tomorrow. I'm actually originally from Poland, but I've lived in California for the last 26 years. And my research is on Afghan women refugee students. I teach English as a second language in California at Modesto Junior College, and 30% of our students are Afghan refugees. And it's a big number. When I had an opportunity to do research on our students, I chose Afghan refugees. I wanted to learn a little bit more about them. I wanted to know what motivates them to come to our college. I wanted to find out what the challenges are so that we can support them more, and also what resources they find useful that help them persist in our college. So I'll be talking about that on Thursday again at 3:20 in person. Everyone is welcome.
Excellent. And again, thank you very much for coming to this online session, and thank you very much for sharing the media with all the other folks who are, with the folks who are online, so who can't make it there in person. And best wishes for your session on Thursday. And again, for the folks that are in person, please use this platform as a way to put comments. So, you know, in an in-person session, there isn't a lot of space at the end, to speak to your, you know, to answer questions and discuss it. But there's an infinite amount of space here online as well. So I'm encouraging everybody, whether you're in person or online, to really use the discussion space as much as you possibly can. Okay, the next person we have who's going to speak to their thing is Kevin Albertson. How are you, Kevin?
I'm well, thank you. I'm somewhat disappointed not to be in Poland, so my session is online. And the base premise of our paper is that, as I'm sure you know, graduates, when they finish their undergraduate degree, are quite often encouraged to move in order to chase the job market. And people who decide to stay in their home locale, by which we define the home locale as that place they were living before they went to university, they suffer a penalty. But if you look at it the other way around, you could just as easily argue that that is a price that they are prepared to pay in order to stay essentially at home. And so that's basically the gist of our paper. We have 4 research hypotheses. I won't tell you what they are now. You'll have to download the video to find out. But the long and the short of it is, as far as we know, this is actually the first time anybody has ever tried to put a monetary value on staying at home. So that's basically the gist of our paper. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So in this, now that's the second paper that's looking at people who are not moving for some reason. So, you know, in this area of permanent movement, movement's become the norm in some respects. So very interesting perspective. So thank you for being here, Kevin. And I can see you've had 75 people who've looked at your page already, which is encouraging and nice. All right, our next person that we have here is, I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, I'm sure, Mosomola Ognamalji. There you go. I tried at least.
Yeah, thank you, William. Yeah, so my name is Mosomola Ogumolaji, and I'm a doctoral candidate in the Department of History at the University of Florida. So it's so unfortunate that I would not be in person in Poland, but I'm excited to sort of share my research a little bit. And I also have a video, so please feel free to sort of engage with my work and leave some comments on the discussion board. So basically, my work has to do with the migration of Nigerian nurses, which is typically seen as a recent phenomenon, but I'm trying to trace the historical origin of all of this recent migration. So based off of my research, my preliminary research, I've sort of discovered some of those earliest form of migrations from Nigeria to the United Kingdom. So from as early as 1930s, there were case studies of like young Nigerian women who actually moved to the United Kingdom, and I discussed that extensively in my presentation. So I would once again, you know, ask you all to sort of look through that video. Basically trying to look at, you know, all of this migration, but also trying to understand how this sort of impacts global health conditions, and how centering the experiences of these women themselves as their everyday experiences as nurses, but also their domestic experiences too as well. So so far so good. I've been doing a lot of, you know, field work, collecting data from the archives, doing field work both in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom too as well. So basically that's what my research is all about, and thank you, everyone.
Ah, how interesting. Over such a long period of time as well, just to see what the dynamics are. And of course, I'm not familiar with the situation in the United Kingdom, but in so many parts of the world, there's a crisis of nursing staff, and it seems to be one of these very, very mobile professions, actually. So, yeah, what an interesting area to be working in. So, well, thank you for being here, and congratulations on that interesting research. The next one I have here in the links is on Olomomo Tobora. Again, my apologies for the pronunciation.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hey, good to hear you. Good to hear you.
Can you see me now?
So do you want to tell us a little bit about your presentation? What brings you to the conference and the work that you're doing?
Oh, yeah. I'm supposed to be in Poland in person, but as of yesterday, I have an issue with my flight, so I missed the flight, and that's why I'm online. I'm a doctorate student from Liverpool University, John Moore. I'm doing research on resilient, supply chain resilient. However, in this conference, I'm supposed to be presenting in person, but unfortunately, I think I'll be doing it online, so people can just check on my page. I will be doing it online since I missed my flight. I'll be doing resilient for growth, different perspective on environmental global supply chain. What I'm trying to look at as my doctorate degrees about resilience. And for this conference, I'm going to be looking at the impact of the environment on the global supply chain. I want to see as how possible can it be? Can it be any effect of the government? How resilient can be? How environmental sustainability can really affect? In what perspective will it be? However, this is just part of the literature review I'm writing on. Is part of my work. So whatever it is, I'll be doing my presentation on this on Thursday. People can check more on my page. And thank you for this.
Oh, well, I'm sorry you can't make it to the conference. Do put some digital media in there so other folks
Yeah,
can...
I would do that. I'm supposed to be staying in one hotel called Radiant, and that was supposed to be my hotel, but
but look, you might make it by the 19th anyhow. I can see your presentation. If you can make it by the 19th, all well and good. Otherwise, tell the conference people that's one of the great advantages of the online format. If you miss the plane, you don't miss out. So,
yeah. Thank you for that.
Wonderful. And yeah, again, these issues of global supply chains, environment, they're really important cross-disciplinary issues these days. So.
Yeah, I was supposed to be doing 2 presentations tomorrow, but on Thursday. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, they might be able to move that for you actually, if you can still make it. But anyhow, talk to the people at the conference; they might be able to. Otherwise, all is not lost if you can possibly upload.
Yeah, I'll be online with you guys. So.
Okay, wonderful. I'm so happy with that.
Okay, thank you.
One we have is Carlo Butera. How are you, Carlo?
Yes, I'm fine, thanks. I'm happy to be here. And I'm originally from Italy, but I'm a doctoral student at the University of Vienna. And my work is about a very important topic in the last 20 years, especially about migration from Africa to Europe. And my research is based on several stages of integration from for the newcomers in Europe, and especially in Italy and Austria. And so I'm going to analyze these stages of integration in my research. And my presentation is about one of these stages, one paper about a part of a stage of integration, which I call hybridization. So I'm going to analyze a short story by an Italian Somali writer who is dealing about several issues concerning integration. So it's basically it's a very funny story, but throughout this story I can get a lot of tools to analyze all these different stages of integration, especially dealing with hybridization. And I built up a model which I called objectification. So I put in a balance all these two things, objectification, hybridization, in order to give you the idea how a person, in this case, the protagonist of the short story, can feel part of the culture of the country, even if she is not originally from the country where she was born.
Ah, what a what a lovely paper! How interesting, and an interesting set of well, I call them metaphors or kind of figures that you've used to deal with that particular issue. So welcome, and yeah, great paper, and I can see 94 people have been there already, and excellent, and you've got your media down there as well. Okay, let's move now on to the next person. Oh, I must have clicked that
Very
one.
much.
Yeah, there we go. The next one is Maracho Gacciano.
Hello, good evening. I hope my audio is good. I'm actually from the Philippines. I am a university teacher, and in our school, mostly our population goes to the maritime students. So these kind of students are actually moving from time to time, especially after their graduation or their apprenticeship in our school, in our university. So basically, what I did was a quantitative type of research determining the level of human rights awareness among those maritime students we have in the university. So basically that's it, especially the human rights are quite controversial, especially in our country here, in the Philippines. So that's it. And afterwards, of course, the target of the study is to come up with a structured action plan. I'm actually a political science graduate, so I am very much interested in how the information on these different fundamental human rights are made known or are actually disseminated, especially to the young people in the university, the maritime students. That's it, I think.
Okay, no, thank you. And you mentioned just in passing that, human rights are sometimes a controversial or a fraught issue. So I think to be struggling with them and to working out what they mean in practice is a very important piece of work. So congratulations, very important topic. The next person.
Thank you.
Oh, that was the same one. So I've got to actually pull up another couple of links now. I'll pull up a couple of links. There's one here. And then I'm going to pull up another one. But also, look, while I'm doing that, Bob G said that he didn't have his link wasn't working. So, Bob, would you like to just briefly kind of say a little bit about yourself and what brings you here?
Yes, thank you, Bill. Bob Greenstreet. I'm a professor and dean emeritus at University of Wisconsin. I'm up in Milwaukee right now, where we are surrounded by the Republican Party and lots of things happening here. My paper is somewhat of an outlier to the conference theme, in as much as I'm more interested in human habitation and basic building to serve the world's population. This comes out of an overall study that has examined the impact of the discipline of law upon the discipline of architecture. This invisible web of restriction and restraint that I believe considerably affects the built environment throughout the world. Common Ground has been a wonderful venue to explore these ideas of how law affects architecture. This particular paper goes back to basics of looking at the way in which copyright law, which is an aspect of law I'm interested in, affects the whole concept of originality in architecture. When does originality start? When does it when does it conflict with other forces, and looking at the basic house, the humble house, and how we can determine at which point the human habitation no longer ceases to be architecture. In some places, that's under 50,000 cubic feet. In some aspects, it tends to alleviate functional requirements, architectural features, and traditional relationships of spaces, in which case law would not apply and habitation could be created much more quickly. So this is basically back to real and how they can be alleviated to create more housing in the growing need for human habitation across the globe. Thanks.
Well, what a masterfully cross-disciplinary thing between architecture and law and global studies. So, yeah, what a lovely example of how these things can be brought together in these interdisciplinary contexts. So welcome back, Bob. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Right. The next one I have is, I've already done that one. This one, next one I have is from Bharat Juwalala. I'm sorry, I'm sure I did that terribly.
I hope you can hear me.
Very well.
Okay. I'm a professor of economics, retired professor of economics, but I veered into this whole area of history. And my paper is kind of out of the most of the papers of this conference. I'm looking at the migration from the Indus Valley to West Asia at 1500 BCE at the time of the Exodus. And I'm presenting a hypothesis that the migration from the Indus Valley was actually led by Moses, and the Exodus was actually from the Indus Valley to Israel. And I have traced how the culture of the Indus Valley has gone with the Exodus to West Asia. So it is a history, religion, and of course, migration from Indus Valley to West Asia.
Wow,
Thank you.
what a fascinating story. And it's just the lesson is that migration has turned the world upside down for a long, long time,
Yes.
for thousands of years.
That's right. That's right.
And well, welcome and thanks for bringing that to the conference. And the next one I have is, oh, that's the same one. I've done that. I just wonder if I've missed anybody. I think I might have missed this one. Just give me a moment and pull this one up. Sorry, I'm jumping backwards and forwards between the chat and the, yes, I did miss this one, which is Nayes. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronounced that terribly, from Tehran.
No.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and I'm very glad, honestly, to be here with you. Yes, I participate from Iran, and I know everyone knows about women in Iran try to be a voice and try to share their words, their fears, and other things with the world. And I'm very honestly glad to be here with you again. My paper and presentation is about the free floating framework, and I try to use critical discourse analysis and deconstructions by Derrida Coyne for seeing policies and how policy make and shape, and not based on rationality, based on new view, argumentation, and I try to point that maybe policies made by narratives and storylines from meta-narratives, and I try to see chaotically this view. And honestly, I'm very excited because you know our situation in Iran, and now I'm here to listen to you and learn from you guys. And again, I'm very happy. I'm very thank you giving me this voice, and I'm excited. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and all strength to you. It's wonderful to have you here. And these are challenging times in many parts of the world, and we know how challenging they are in Iran and you know, the right across everywhere in the world. These are challenging times. So it's strength to you, and thank you for being with us. I don't think I've missed anybody. Have I missed anybody? I hope I've got all the links here. But look, what I want to do is someone has their what I want to do is I want to briefly mention next year's conferences as well. So let me just see how far back it is. Here we go. So in 2025, the in-person version of these conferences, just give some people some advance warning, is going to be in the University of Malaga in Spain in July. And what we're going to really focus on next time is, and by the way, this is just a special theme. All the other themes are going to be there. Migration and globalism and diversity and all those things are going to be there. But what the special interest theme next year is going to be minds and machines, artificial intelligence, algorithms, ethics, and order in global society. That's a big order. And that's going to be the case for both the Interdisciplinary Social Sciences Conference, and again, we'll be combining that with the Global Studies Conference. So we really do hope that you can be there. But the other thing I do want to say to you all as well, that thank you for being here. This is a record of the conference, and thank you for all the in-person people who put their digital media. Thank you for the online people being here. As I say, do interact in those spaces as much as you possibly can, because it's a way to kind of build an intellectual community. Then after that, beyond that, we do have the journals. We have a series of journals in social sciences because we get a lot of material, so we've broken them up into separate journals and book series, and also in global studies as well. So after this, the agenda is to put in your papers for peer review, and we'll be and by the way, it's this is a community where you are the peer reviewers. We invite everybody in the community to be part of the peer review process and to contribute to this collaborative knowledge building exercise. So that's what flows on from this. So look, folks, thank you everyone for being here. This has been a great session. Exciting to hear all the incredibly interesting and important work you're doing. As I say, strength to you all in these difficult times. Keep on thinking these important thoughts and doing this important work. They all have enormous implications for all of us. So I will stop sharing now. And a funny thing that happens in these Zoom things, people kind of wave at the end. So thank you all for being here. And thank you for joining us today. And I hope you have a really good conference. Wishing you all the very best. So bye, everybody.
I have a quick question if you can take it.
Yes, I can take a question, of course.
Yeah, I have uploaded my presentation with an audio.
Yes.
Do I also get to present it online in person?
No,
online?
Everything's asynchronous. So the audio, except for this session, I think there's another Talking Circle session later on. All the sessions are asynchronous. And that's because, look, people are in different time zones. We hold these sessions, but look, we've got 16, 18 people, 17 or 18 people here today, even though there's 200 at the conference. So we hold these just to have a human connection for you all, but we find that most people appreciate the asynchronous interaction. But what's critical in that, and let me just emphasize it again, is don't leave a page without leaving some sort of a comment, and not, something which is thoughtful and substantial is really appreciated, and it does trigger an email to the other people in that session.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and the plenary sessions that are in Krakow are all going to be recorded and uploaded online, so you won't be missing any of those. All right, bye everybody. See you then. Thanks for being here.